Well, hello, hello. It's Hits 1055, and I'm Bree with BS in the afternoon on Hits 1055. Super excited to be here because I have a special guest with me, and I can't wait to introduce him. So, he is tonight performing a free concert for the community at the Sydney Middle School beginning at 6 o'clock. Doors open at 5:50 p.m. In concert, Gill strums the rhythms on his banjo while everyone sings, claps, dances, and spins along to his musical games. Each concert is more than a show to watch. It's an opportunity for families to play. And that's what I love about him. My daughter grew up on Jim Gill. Hello, Jim. How are you?
I am great. Thanks, Bree, for having me here. I'm excited to be in Sydney and most excited. Well, I can't say most excited. Super excited to be here at 105.5. This is
Yay.
great.
Well, I'm glad. I'm super excited. Big fan of your work. And you're coming to the Sydney Middle School today. At 6 o'clock, you're going to be performing. What kind of sneak peek type of music are we going to be listening to?
Well, they are going to be musical games. I happen to bring my banjo into the studio to give everyone. So I strum a banjo. I make up musical games that are these clap along and sing along and dance along musical games for children and all of the caring adults in their lives. So family members, obviously you mentioned your daughter, so a mom like you, grandparents, whatever. They're games to play together. We get everybody clapping and singing and playing together.
And for me, I think that as a parent, trying to find good, enriching, developmentally friendly books and music for your children is extremely important. And it also has to be something that you like as well as a parent. You don't want to listen to something that sounds horrible.
Well, I appreciate that I fit the bill because that is something I think a lot about. So, right, I am officially a child development specialist. My master's degree is in child development. I studied play. And one great way to play is, singing and playing along, right? So that is a great way to play. However, if you just heard a whole recording of somebody strumming a banjo, it wouldn't sound great. So I hire some of the best musicians in Chicago. I happen to be a jazz fan. I hire these jazz musicians who can play anything to make my recordings sound great.
I think that's absolutely awesome. I actually am going to play part of your song right now. Is it the Nothing Wrong song?
Oh, the Nothing Wrong song. And you're going to hear my band at their best.
Yes, they're absolutely a beautiful sounding band. Absolutely love them. Here's a 20-second clip of Nothing Wrong song so you get a little preview of tonight.
There's nothing wrong with jumping up and down.
There's nothing wrong with jumping up and down.
Just be sure that when descending, your feet land on the ground. There's nothing wrong with jumping up and down.
I absolutely love that song.
You made a really good choice. I do too. And so, tonight we will be jumping up and down. It'll have that same exact energy, except instead of my band being there, the music is going to come from me strumming my banjo and from everyone in the audience clapping and jumping along and spinning along and all of that. So it feels like that in the room.
Yeah.
But everybody's helping me make the music, which I love.
Yes, because I saw you perform. Has it been 2 years?
You know what? I was just thinking. I thought it was last summer, but it could be 2 years ago because time flies. At the fairgrounds for the library. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. You were at the Shelby County Fairgrounds for the library event for their summer reading program, and we had so much fun. And everybody was just joining in with you.
Yeah, big space right at the fairgrounds, and it's me and the banjo, but everybody in those stands made the music with me. It was a fun day.
Yeah, it's super fun. I think that this is a perfect time. It's Valentine's Day for you to be here. What a loving gift to give to the community and the youth of our community for you to be here. So what inspired the Nothing Wrong song? Like, what inspires any of your songs?
Well, thank you for asking. So again, they're games. And so I'm often looking for, when you put on music with young children, they want to move. right? They want to dance, they want to jump, they want to spin, they want to clap. They want to move along. Young children need to move, which is also really good for them, right? To be up and moving. So because I make up these musical games, I'm looking for, again, opportunities to kind of fit in movement opportunities like that into a song. So I happen to be at the farmer's market in my town, listening to the farmer's market band, and I was like, I kind of got a little inspired by that kind of bluegrass feel of it, and came up with this little melody in my head, and then we're going to jump along, we're going to spin along, and it all comes together. Frankly, I spend a lot of time driving in the car. Like I drove, from the tip of southern Illinois up here to Sydney, here, and I make up little songs as I'm driving.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
That sounds so much fun. My favorite song of yours is the Soup Opera. And the guy's like singing, I can't eat the soup. I'm not a singer, so I apologize to
No,
everybody
that's
listening.
perfect. That's exactly the idea. We're all singers.
Yes. And at the end, it's because he didn't have a spoon.
Yes, so that's a book that is musical as well, as you're correct. It is. There's a CD that comes with the book. So it's a sing-along opera. And it's kind of, again, a perfect use of how it's more than just fun, right? It's a book, and the CD that accompanies it gets people really excited to sing, I can't eat the soup, with their child, and then the child starts singing, I can't eat the soup. We know that kids memorize songs, right? So now all of a sudden they've got that, I can't eat the soup, and now it's on the printed page, so now they're playing along at reading because they already have it memorized, and these are all the things that help young children learn to read, right?
Yeah.
So it's fun, but it's a lot more than just fun.
Yes, and it's fun for the parents, which I think is the most important thing.
And I appreciate
it's not just
that.
fun
Thank
for
you.
the kids, it's fun for the parents, it's fun for the teachers, it's fun for the librarians. You know what I mean?
Well, I do appreciate that both the preschool teachers here, it's now Whittier Early Childhood Center, I know they use my music in the classrooms as part of their curriculum, which is a big honor for me. And then also the librarians at Storytime, right? They use my songs in their programming, which is, again, a great honor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if people were singing along to things that I wrote, I would be stoked.
It is really fun, and especially because, again, it's a song, but it's the song with a purpose, right? Like it has this, that's always been for me. I'm not an entertainer. It will be very entertaining tonight, I promise. But I like to look at it as, again, more than just that, right?
Yeah, it's more than just a song. It's more than just a show that you're watching. It is an interactive experience.
Yeah, and for the fact that has worked out for me. I mean, that was always, and early on when I was first starting off, people sometimes didn't get that as much. But now the fact that, again, there are librarians all over the country, including here in Sydney, Ohio, and preschool teachers all over the country, including here in Sydney, Ohio, that use my music in their programming for purposeful reasons, right?
Yeah.
That really is wonderful.
That's a big deal. And so how did it come about? Like, how did you decide that this is what you were going to end up doing?
Well, I started working with kids with special needs when I was a teenager. And to be quite honest, it was, a true story. I came home and told my mother, she asked me, oh, have you ever thought about what you're going to do, once you, become an adult? And I said to my mother, I sure do like working at this summer camp. And she honestly looked back at me and said, well, and her face kind of twisted up, and she goes, that's great, but what are you going to do in spring, winter, and fall? And to be honest, it's kind of worked out like that, right? This is the kind of, I was working at this wonderful arts camp for kids with special needs, and it obviously inspired me to go on and do a variation of that on my own. I now work with younger kids, and again, I did, go to college and graduate school to study about why this is important.
Yeah.
But I got the spark as a teenager.
That's awesome. A lot of people, they don't know what they're going to do. They don't have that spark until they get a little older or after they're already in college and they're like, oh no, now what do I do?
Yeah, exactly right. So this was kind of great. And when I was in college, I was very fortunate to have a couple of different therapy centers in the Chicago area, which is where I live now. And that asked me, like, hey, would you come in and do weekly little play groups for kids, our kids with special needs and their family members? And so that's where I started making up my own songs.
Yeah.
Were for part of those. So again, it made sense, right? It was therapeutic play, although I wasn't a therapist. It was these just a kind of these general broad play groups, but the therapist would always give me great feedback and say like, hey, this is more than just fun. You know,
Yeah.
like the kids are paying such close attention, so they're focused. There's a lot of language development that goes on when kids are singing along, when they're listening for the rhymes or they're making up their own words. All of these things, again, started for me in my 20s, which is great.
And what a fun job to have.
It is a really fun job to have.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
You said before we got on air, oh, you're jealous. You would love to be on the radio, and that would sound like a pretty cool job. You get paid to talk. And I was like, man, I'm thinking that your job was pretty cool.
I think we both have pretty cool jobs.
Yeah, we do.
No, it's really kind of great.
Good for us.
Yeah, no, I do feel lucky, all the time that, there's the obvious downsides, but, I'm not going to complain about.
Does your wife travel with you when you go traveling, or no?
I think she's listening right now back in Chicago. Well, here's the thing. We have a dog that's a 100-pound bully.
Oh.
So it's hard to have people stay with, it's hard for finding a place for her to stay. I
Okay.
love her. She's a great Pyrenees mix from a shelter, and she's just a wonderful beast, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier if I just sort of go out on the road and do my
That
thing.
makes sense. Yeah, because you got to have somebody take care of your baby at home.
That is true. And if she goes to, a normal dog, you can bring her
Yeah.
to somebody's house that has a dog, but not my dog.
Not a Pyrenees mix.
Not a
No.
Pyrenees mix. She's
that makes
awesome.
sense. Well, hello, Jim Gill's wife. I'm so proud of you. You landed a good one. I'm super excited. Again, tonight, 6 p.m. at the Sydney Middle School. Jim Gill will be there with interactive fun and play. For what do you think that your target age range is for children?
Well, I always say, it's for young children. So it's obviously, again, the event was originally sponsored by the folks at Whittier Early Childhood. So, if you've got anywhere from a toddler to a preschooler to someone in the younger grades, it certainly is going to be right up their alley. That's really perfect for me. But it's a family concert. So a lot of times if you got a preschooler, you might have an 11-year-old as well. And I will tell you that if that 11-year-old will probably find themselves tapping their
Yeah.
toes and jumping along, and if they want to, have fun with their family.
Absolutely. And so how many books do you have? Because you have 10 CDs of music play. Is that
correct. Yeah. Over the years, there's now 10 different CDs,
That's
which is
crazy.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
And everything streams. I'll say that. I love the fact, just like I love the fact that people can, the library, by the way, I know has my books and CDs
Yes,
at the
they
library.
do.
So people can borrow them there. And I love that they're available that way. But these days, most people get their music streaming on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. It's all there. Type in Jim Gill. Hey, Alexa, play Jim Gill. I love it. Because then it's people are playing my games in their home.
Yes, exactly. I have definitely streamed your things. I found them on YouTube, and then I recently followed you on Facebook.
Yeah, you can find me on
So
Facebook
everybody
as
can
well.
find you on Facebook as well. Maybe I'll link that or link your website. May There Always Be Sunshine is one of my favorites. I have the soup opera and I have May There Always Be Sunshine.
Thank you. Yeah, so I have 2 different books. I have plans for more. But one thing is that I'm fiercely independent. So I do the books myself, not all by myself. I hire illustrators, and my wife does the majority of all of the work and sort of organizing everybody together to
Yeah.
work as a team and the printing and all of those sorts of things. But we do it ourselves. So before we take on a new one, it's always like, oh, this is going to be a lot of work. So I'm hopeful for that. But we're releasing the May There Always Be Sunshine in a new edition, which is going to be bilingual. So it's going to
Oh.
be in English and Spanish together.
That's awesome.
Que siempre haya sol. Very sweet. So that's,
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure that the library will get that one too then.
I'm hoping that they will.
Yes, that's very exciting. Again, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm very excited to have you, and I can't tell you how many times I can say I'm so excited. And I will be singing I Can't Eat the Soup all day while I'm in the studio. And then tonight you will be playing at 6 p.m. at the Sydney Middle School, and the doors open at 5:50. This is a free community event for kids of all ages. If you guys have time, how long is the show?
It's a 45-minute show.
That's not bad.
No, it's perfect. It's as long as everyone wants to actively jump and clap and dance and all of those things together, right?
Yeah.
And then it's over, you go home, hopefully you sing a song before, like the song that we'll end with, that May There Always Be Sunshine. It's a good bedtime song, so you put your little ones to bed and, sing the song. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to play your snippet of your song again, just so everybody can hear it if they're just tuned in late. Jim Gill will be here tonight at 6 p.m. at the Sydney Middle School for a free community concert. And this is a snippet of one of his songs, the Nothing Wrong song.
There's nothing wrong with jumping up and down.
There's nothing wrong with jumping up and down.
Just be sure that when descending, your feet land on the ground. There's nothing wrong with jumping up and down.
Just hearing that makes me want to jump up and down.
Well,
does.
I appreciate it. That is what the band brings to it, right? It's amazing.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you again, Jim Gill. I will post a picture with Jim and put his social links on there. So if you need to find him, you can find him on the Hits 1055 Facebook page to get some information, or go see him tonight at 6 p.m. at the middle school.
Yeah, no, the more people that are there to sing and play along, the more fun it is.
Exactly. It's super fun. I promise I wouldn't lead you astray. This is Bree with BS in the Afternoon, and this has been Music and Mirth with Jim Gill.